I'm a Jew from Poland. I'm a Jewish person from Poland. I lived in Poland with my family. Like you, I had a sister, I had cousins, I had friends. We played football, we played and laughed and did all the things that young people do. And I had a big family of cousins and lots of friends, and we were having fun just as you are today when I was there. In 1939, the Germans invaded Poland, and with that, they took all the Jews in my city, Lodz, which is a big textile city, a second largest city in Poland, and put us all in a ghetto. Now, the definition of a ghetto, I'm sure some of you know what a ghetto is, in some sense of the word. And my interpretation definition of my ghetto was they herded all the Jews from all around the city and put us in one section and built wire fences around them with bridges to cross. We weren't allowed to cross on the street or where normal traffic existed. The Jews had to build bridges so they could not interfere with the Gentile population and the Germans who were traveling back and forth. We had to go through gates. I had to wear Star of David on the front and the Star of David on the back to identify me as a Jew. I was placed in a factory to work in a factory I polished desks and so on, and tables, in a wooden factory. And but still, we were okay. We were still under I was still with my mother and my sister and my dad and cousins and uncles. So things were bad, but they weren't bad as long as I had my family. In 1941, the Russians had started to invade the Eastern Front, and they were pushing towards Poland, and so we were evacuated to go to Germany to work. Starting with my first extermination camp, which was Auschwitz. Have you read about Auschwitz? Auschwitz was a place that is beyond description. It was like Dante's Inferno. It was hell. It was, well, I'm going to tell you how we got there. When we first were evacuated from my ghetto in Lodz, Poland, we were herded down to a train station. We were told we were going to Germany to work. The elders were told to take all the good belongings because the Germans didn't have tools because of the war effort, and they needed all the workers with their tools so they could help keep the German economy and the German war going. So they told us to bring everything with us, and then we were on a journey to the war camp. And once we got to the train station, not in Auschwitz, once we got to the train station in Poland, they took away all our belongings. They herded us into cattle cars. I mean, to the point where you could not breathe, and shut the doors. And the next thing we know, we're on our way to a concentration called Auschwitz, which you read about. Auschwitz was a place that is something, again, I cannot ever forget, and I don't want to forget. Even if I want to forget, I will never forget. Because that's why I lost everything I had. My mother, my sister, basically all of my cousins, with the exception of one or two. 90% of my uncles and aunts, my grandparents, and virtually all my friends. So just imagine, put ourselves in a car. You're in my position, my place, and all of you are friends and your cousins, and you love each other, or you hate each other as kids do, or whatever kids do. And on one day, someone comes and just puts you on a train and takes you to this terrible place and separates you from your parents, they immediately start pointing fingers to the left and to the right. The left meant you're going to go to death, the gas chambers, the crematoriums. To the right, you were going to live, because you were still able to be productive to the German people, to the German cause, and so that you're going to die either way, except that they were going to use you until you're going to die to be productive to their cause. When we got to Auschwitz, Auschwitz was like once we got out off the trains, there were screaming and hollering and horrendous maniacs who were just running with that. I refer to the maniacs as the SS troops, the elite guard of the Germans, who were in charge with German shepherds and just biting people, screaming. It was just like you just didn't know where you were. It was like someone just drugged you, or someone just put you in a place where you couldn't imagine that this could ever happen to you. But what happened was, that was the beginning. I'm trying to condense it because we don't have too much time. So I'm going to take you through my journey as much as I can and give you as much of my input as I can. And then we were put in big lines. Right at that point, I lost my mother and sister. When I say I lost them, they separated the men from the women. So that was the last time I ever saw my mother and my sister. I still was with my dad, which we were in this line to be picked one way or another, left or right. And I was sort of tall for my age, and I can't tell you kids that I had something or knew something. It's like if you're going to go out and try to win the lotto when there's